Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars, welcome to another PlayStation 4 review. Today's review is for The Wild 8. Now this is a game that I've had in my library for quite some time. I bought it a while ago in a PlayStation Store sale. I don't remember paying much for it. I think it was less than £5 that I paid for it, but it's a game that I'd been wanting to play for quite a while. So I pulled the trigger, but I'd never really had time to play it. But it's been a quiet week or so I thought I'd download something that I'd bought previously and not had time to play and give it a go. And this one was at the top of the list, The Wild 8. Now, what is The Wild 8? Well, The Wild 8 is quite an accessible survival game. Now, essentially, at the beginning of the game, you get to choose between 8 characters which survivor you want to be. Like I say, there's 8 to choose from. They've all got different skills. Some will be faster, some will be better in the cold, so on and so forth. They've all got different skills, and it's up to you to choose which one you want to go with. Once you get in the game, essentially the story is you're involved in a plane crash in Alaska. You survive the plane crash, and then it's up to you to basically survive and get out of the situation that you're in through exploration and crafting and all those great stuff that you see in survival games. Now, I generally like survival games. Sometimes I find them a little bit fiddly and a little bit unaccessible sort of thing, but if they're done right and they don't take themselves too seriously, they could be quite a lot of fun to play. And this one kind of tips into that category in a sense of it is quite accessible for new people getting involved in survival games. Yes, it's a survival game, so you need to kind of balance your health and your eating and things like that, and your temperature, because you're in Alaska. You need to keep warm, and you need to eat, and you need to look after your health and things like that. But that's it, really, and it's not too punishing either. For those of you that are put off by those mechanics in games like this, I don't think the mechanics are too punishing. It's quite easy to kind of keep them all fairly balanced, especially after playing it for a couple of hours. You know, when you get a little bit stronger and you get a little bit better equipment, so that you can kind of take out some of the wildlife to like do your cooking and things like that. Now, the game consists of really you exploring the map. Now, my understanding is, I'm not 100% on this, but my understanding is that the quest markers are kind of marked on your map kind of as you go to make things a little bit easier. But like the side quests and some of the discoverable items are kind of placed differently each time you play it. It's not randomly generated, I don't think, or anything like that. Because that would be a bit of a pain for everything. But I think I think that is what happens in the game. I haven't replayed it, sort of thing, so I'm not 100% on that. But that's just what I'd heard. So you will see that you've got like different quests on the map. You go and explore certain areas, certain bunkers, certain buildings. There's some light puzzling involved here and there. Nothing too, brain mashing or anything like that. They're all fairly easy to figure out. Some rooms you won't be able to access because you'll need a certain key card, things like that. Sometimes they're on that location, sometimes they're in different places. You've got to kind of explore to kind of find the secrets of all the buildings and bunkers that you find. And all the secrets that you uncover will get you closer to get away, basically, safely in the game. Now, there are enemies in the game, and they range from, the usual things like wild boars, wolves, to more supernatural type things. And I don't want to spoil it too much, but there are some quite serious enemies in the game, so you kind of need to keep upgrading yourself as you're going along with better equipment and better weapons. And you can do that in a number of ways. You can find new weapons by exploring, like guns and things like that. You can find those, but also there's a crafting option in the game. You've got like a workshop that you can carry around with you, and you can craft new weapons, new clothing, a whole array of things, as you would expect in a game like this. And as you upgrade, you can upgrade your skills in the game, like your defense, your attack, your storage capacity, which is a big thing in a survival game. You need to have the ability to store more things in your backpack. But you can also, like I say, upgrade everything, all your skills and all your equipment and all this kind of stuff, and upgrade your shelter and everything like that to make everything better. So it all works pretty well for a survival game. I think it's, as I've said, I think it is quite accessible for most people. If you're kind of put off by the survival mechanics in games like this, I think you'll find this one really, really easy to get into, should I say. So you will find yourself exploring the maps, finding new locations, and you're managing your food and your temperature while you're trekking along. You could build like camp, like fire pits sort of thing, to keep you warm on the hop, because your temperature will drop and things like that. If you're going too far, you can build a campfire and it'll keep your temperature high, but at the same time you can also cook food on there as well from any of the animals that you've killed along the way. You'll make use of all the food, and you can make use of their bones as well, with other pieces of equipment. There's crafting, as I've mentioned, in the game. It's fairly basic in some aspects, the game, in regards to the crafting side of things, but it ticks a box and it does what it's supposed to do. Now, the sounds and what have you in the game, it is pretty good. There's no real voice acting to speak of here, but it's got some pretty nice music, fairly gentle music. At times it feels really quite relaxing to play this, and then at other times it can feel quite tense when you're being like attacked by the wildlife and other things in the game. So it does kind of balance the experience a little bit. It never really feels what I would describe as frightening or anything like that, but there are a few tense moments. If you go into certain areas and you don't have the right equipment to tackle those areas, you are really, really going to struggle. So it is about making sure you have the right equipment, so keeping safe in your shelters, building up your equipment, building up your skills, and then heading out and exploring once again to kind of find everything that you need to get through your game. So this game was released initially, I think it was 2020. So it's a game you can certainly pick up these days very, very cheaply. And if it's a game that sounds quite interesting to you, it's certainly one that I would recommend. I don't think it's outstanding or anything like that, but for the price I paid for it and the fun that I've had with it, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. So I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. I hope you found it useful. I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.